Hey, how's it going?
Very good. How about you?
Doing pretty well, doing well. It's good to see you.
Yeah, same.
You were just doing a class, were you?
Yeah, yes, just got back.
Okay.
And the sun's setting.
Oh, nice. Perfect timing.
Yeah,
Yeah, so what's the time difference? I guess you guys are, it's almost 8 o'clock where you are?
yeah, yes, yes. And you had lunch?
Yeah, I had lunch, so it's just about 3 p.m., so 5 hour difference.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So you're in Sweden, and were you just doing kettlebell training or group class? What are you doing these days?
A bunch of things. So what I did today was out by what's the word? Nature reserve. There is uh, what's the word? Uh, like Damn, what's the word? Obstacle course up in the trees.
Okay.
Yeah, so like a 16-meter obstacle course in the forest.
That sounds very your style.
Yeah,
That
very
sounds
fun.
fun. So it's like monkey bars, like climbing like this, or
Yeah, all kinds of different like balancing things and swinging things and yeah,
super
a
cool.
bunch of ways to get from one platform to the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were
Yeah.
you training or teaching a class or what was going on?
Teaching a class. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask how how COVID's kind of affect what you do.
Yeah. So Sweden, if you heard, is treating this very different
Yeah.
from the rest of the world. I still like as soon as like the quarantine stuff started, were a bunch of cases at the school where my kids go.
Oh no.
So I pulled them out right away and like, okay, until we know what Corona is,
Yeah.
um, I want them at home with me. So like Sweden as a country didn't change too much. Uh, So, like we can go out to the parks and do like all sorts of things. I heard that at least in the US, there's super restrict restricted. I don't know about Canada. How?
Yeah, each province has been like a little different,
Mhm.
but pretty much we were pretty shut down up
Yeah,
until this month.
yeah,
And starting of June, we just started kind of reopening up everything.
hmm,
So I was really happy because I guess probably even 2 weeks before June, they reopened provincial parks.
yeah.
And I live by like two provincial parks here. So we weren't even allowed to go in the woods, which, you know,
That's crazy.
tough
Yeah,
for probably guys like me and you.
yeah. I spent like all like the last 2 months like in the woods a lot. I have this really nice forest here with
Mm,
the running tracks or um, what's it called, like off-road kind of terrain.
mm.
So we're doing a lot of like cross-country running stuff in the woods, which has been really fun during this time. But like the gyms and stuff are open. I haven't been going, but I've been training outside.
Mm,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, it seems like Sweden and a lot of places in Europe are just, well, in some places in Europe at least, are a lot more relaxed than
Yeah.
the rest of the world, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, I
Mm.
would, as far as Corona goes, I would way rather be working outside than inside using machines that other people are using. And
Yeah.
yeah, very cool. Well, I'm glad to hear that hasn't affected what you do too much.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And
Uh,
you?
like as far as like COVID kind of thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, not too much. Like I prefer going and like seeing people and doing coaching that way, but
Mm-hmm.
also able to do it online. So I think a lot of people are going to come out of this and kind of realize how they either going to make the switch to being virtual and also just realizing like a lot of people probably busing and driving to work and wasting an hour there and an hour back. and yeah, saving a lot of time and money probably just to do things online.
Mm.
But I took a lot of time off, pretty much just focusing on health after the whole Lyme situation.
Yeah.
So I was kind of just getting back to things anyway.
Mm.
So to be honest, like when quarantine hit, I was pretty introverted and staying inside anyway.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a huge change for me.
Mm. It's been nice to have like an excuse to just hang out. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned taking the kids out of school. So you're doing like homeschooling or?
Yeah, so I mean, my kids are 2 and 4. So by homeschooling, you mean playing?
I guess so,
You
yeah.
mean wrestling and just having fun. Like it's been really nice. It's been a really nice time to just hang out. I have a really nice outdoors area also. So we've been having a lot of fun, taking a lot of time to just hang out and play, go for long walks and everything. So it's been really nice.
It's good to hear. I like when it even like first hit here, there was like a kind of a weirdness going around where like you'd walk even just by people and people weren't sure what to make of this yet, I think.
Yeah.
So it's nice now. It's a lot more relaxed, I think.
Yeah.
But yes, how are the kids? 2 and 4.
Oh, yeah. Great. Lots of energy. Lots, as I said, lots of wrestling. That's their favorite thing to do. They like, I call it happy wrestling because they're not like fighting. They're like holding on to each other, like laughing like crazy, like rolling around, and it's so much fun. So much fun. Because the 2-year-old, like maybe 6 months ago, he was a bit too small to really play with August, the 4-year-old. But now, like both of them can really like make each other's lives pretty hard. Yeah.
So the little one's a boy and
Yeah, both boys. So
both
Noah, 2 years old, and August, 4 years old. 2 boys.
Mm.
Mm.
I'm always interested. I have a buddy who's an RCMP officer, and just like he's very into hockey, and he had his little boy like training from a very early age. I'm always interested. Like I like to check in on your children, like 10, 15 years, and I know there's going to be like super athletes.
Yeah, I mean, even since they were born, we've been doing like barrel crawls and like all this stuff to work on their motor skills and like all these things that are like when they're that young and they really connect with their bodies, it's because they're already so connected. And when you do these things and let them play in that way, like crawl and do all these things, they really develop physically. So it's going to be really interesting to see, like, as the years go on, like how they will be athletically.
Yeah, and I imagine like being someone who's a personal trainer and watching like I love watching little kids because, like you said, like they're so fresh, but they also like they do things like intuitively that perhaps we forgot about, and to watch them, I bet just the way they move, like you're like, like maybe I can swing my kettlebell that way, or
and they know that like movement is supposed to be fun. Like they know that, and that's I think a big thing that we forget. Like movement, training, running, it's fun. It's really fun stuff, and we forget that really easy as we grow older. So it's really nice to like do all these things, and they just love it.
Yeah, I guess like working out and running like becomes like a chore for some people, maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
And I remember when we first met, I think that's when you were having your first child. And yeah, just you were very into working out in a way that like was in tune with nature, but was also like very focused on like it should be enjoyable. We don't have to go crazy here, but let's have some fun and get dirty and
yeah, for sure. Like all my whenever I have like a group, whenever I do like a day workshop or anything, the first thing I always do, because people are standing usually like not nervous, but they're kind of in their own space and they're kind of like they think they're up for something hard. And then the first thing I always do is like 15 minutes to play. Like we'll play tag, we'll play. I think we like the boxing game where you're supposed to like touch each other's shoulders.
Yeah.
And like those kind of like super playful movements. And then after 15 minutes, everyone's like super happy and ready to go, and they carry that with them through the training afterwards, and it's really fun.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
How many like 40-year-olds are they're playing tag?
Yeah, like, everyone loves it. Everyone secretly loves playing tag, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, something, I was interested in a couple different things that I wanted to pick your brain about.
Yeah.
But I guess just like becoming a father, that's got to be interesting. And I'm just kind of wondering like how things have changed, what you've kind of learned, or what they've taught you this last 4 years, I guess it's been.
Yeah.
What's it been like?
Yeah, great question. Yes, I mean, it's been amazing. Like, they're two awesome boys. And like the role of father, like, I mean, it's super fun. It's just, everything's play. Like, always, like, even like changing diapers, I'm always like, it's a thing where we laugh as we do it. So I think, yeah, I don't know. There's even the things that are quote like hard are like not hard. Like, it's a joy. It's really the greatest thing. It's really amazing. Yeah.
Because you'd think changing diapers, that would be like one of the not so fun tasks.
Yeah, at times it weren't, but like as I like wrap my mind around like everything can be fun. Like as we're going to sleep, like their favorite movie is Cars. You know, the Pixar movie.
I haven't seen it, but it looks good.
One scene when they're going on the highway and these like mean cars are going up and they play this relaxing song to make one of the cars fall asleep. And this is the scene. So I'm like, oh, I'll play that when we go to bed. And they're like, oh, it's the car song. Oh, and then like they really want to go to sleep because that's what happens in the movie. He goes to sleep. So even like the nighting routine is like where I have this like star sky in the room. You know, one of these like projectors. So we're playing, looking at the stars, listening to the song from Cars, and like they fall asleep happy every single night. And before, when I thought that like putting them to sleep was supposed to be a chore, then it was hard. They didn't want to go to bed. It was like I did all this stuff that you like how I thought it was going to be. Like it's going to take 30 minutes. It's going to be you're going to go up from the bed and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But when I thought like it's going to be fun, and like how can I make going to bed super fun? Became fun every single night. And same with the diapers. Like everything's like I made everything into a fun activity. So it's yeah, super nice.
That sounds like an awesome philosophy.
Yeah.
Because I kind of just, I mean, this is essentially my first podcast here, and I'm calling it Chiosophy Podcast.
Yeah, nice.
And the reason I'm doing that is just because this is just my philosophy. Like the videos that I'm sharing are just my thoughts, my ideas. And I'm also interested in knowing like what other people's philosophies are, what the little things they do in their lives to make their lives better kind of thing. And it sounds like you're nailing this one with like, that's just such an important question. Like, how do I make this fun?
Yeah.
And I think that's a question that a lot of people might forget to ask in like any aspect of life. Like if you're working a job you don't like, how do I make this fun? Or I'm stuck inside during COVID. How do I make this fun?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah, like, as I said, with like training also, like, because running, like I run a lot, run about half a marathon every day, and I could only do that if it's fun. Like if I made running hard, I would never like keep that up. When I used to live in south of Sweden, I would take this ferry out on the boat on the islands. There's these beautiful islands. I would run for a bit, stop by a cafe, have a cup of coffee, enjoy the sun, and then run along. And like after a while, like, oh, I ran for 8 hours. I had such fun. It wasn't like I'm gonna run 10 minutes faster than last time or anything like that. I'm just like enjoying the day the best way.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually, I rarely go on social media, but I've recently, I think just being home, it's made me kind of peek on a bit more. But I've been checking out your little Facebook stories, and it's so cool. Just you running through these little greeneries, and the scenery just looks awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
And I've been a bit back and forth with running, like kind of I was feeling good, and then I was running a lot, and then maybe not feel so great, and then I come back to it kind of thing. But yeah, there's such a difference between me like running in the woods and like being on a track. And yeah, it's 100 times better just even being in nature and just like smelling pine trees as like I'm running and stuff. Like yeah, very cool.
Yeah, we have pretty much the same kind of forest, I think, right? Canada, Sweden.
Very similar, I think. Yeah.
I think pine trees and yeah.
I remember me and my buddy visited, and you took us around and showed us some Viking graveyards, and we had
Uppsala.
Uppsala, yes. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yeah, Uppsala.
Uppsala.
Yes.
We had a drink. Was it mead? It's called.
Yeah, I think so. Like the non-alcoholic, super sweet, like honey mead, right?
Yeah.
I think we had it at the cafe by the graveyards, right?
Yeah, I thought it was alcoholic, but it wasn't, eh?
I don't think so. Maybe like 2% or something.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm typically not a fan of like beer. I'll like a glass of red wine or something. But that was delicious. I thought it was like a beery, honey, delicious Viking drink.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Do you drink? Do you not drink?
I'm very like mindful with whatever. Like even like when I drink coffee, I'm super mindful. When I drink tea, I'm very mindful. Like I want to pick the occasions very well. And same with alcohol. Like I do drink, but I always pick the occasions. Like I'm making a really nice dinner. Like I want a glass of wine, or like in Midsummer's coming in a week. I might have a few like traditional herbal snaps.
Okay.
Something like that. But aside from that, I don't like. I don't drink more than one or two. Yeah.
Nice.
Just like for enjoyment.
Nice. And Midsummer, I think you've explained this to me before, possibly, but what is it?
Oh, so I'm pretty sure it was like this old pagan holiday where we basically. So it's about nature. It's about like, because I think it's before like the crops start growing and stuff. So it has something to do with like making sure it's going to be a plentiful like harvest and stuff. But then when the Christians like came here and changed from the Viking pagan and to Christianity, they kept the holiday, but they like changed the meanings and stuff. But one of the most like iconic things, like if you Google Midsummer, you'll see this like pole that we dance around. This is like, I think it's called maypole, maybe.
Okay.
This is like green pole. It's a cross, and then like we dance around it. Yeah, very strange, but it's nice. It's like the most beautiful part of summer. Like right now, Sweden is paradise. Sweden is just paradise. And so midsummer always like everyone has this like midsummer feeling, almost like Christmas feeling. It's a very specific feeling inside you, and midsummer has that quality to it also.
Nice. So will there be like a festival kind of thing going on, or is it more of just this is the time, but right before harvest?
Yeah, so it's a festival. So we like eat and drink smorgasbord, the Swedish smorgasbord, like pickled herring, potatoes, stuff like that. And usually people will drink snaps, like herbal vodka, basically.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of singing and dancing and stuff like that.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, really nice. Usually, like a traditional thing to do is to like go into the sauna and then like take a swim in a lake or something. Like so because midsummer is about nature. Like it's about the Swedish nature, basically. So we want to immerse ourselves with that. And so swimming and sauna is like traditional ways of celebrating midsummer and dancing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I've been checking out these little videos, and I'm sure I told you before, just still would like to open up a retreat eventually, and just the idea of cold exposure, and also with heat shock proteins and all these different things. Yeah. And saw this awesome video where it's kind of like they have like a little boardwalk going out into, I'm not sure if it's the ocean or a lake, and they have a sauna right on the water. So everybody gets in the sauna and then dives into cold water after, and like that's my idea of what I'd like to create eventually.
Yeah, for sure. The same. Like going from the sauna to cold water, that's like the greatest feeling in the entire world. Like going back and forth a few times and doing some breathing stuff. Yeah. Like nothing will make you feel more like alive than that. You're just like
100%.
Yeah.
So have you messed around with like Wim Hof breathing and stuff like that, or I know you do different things.
I've been watching a few of your videos. Really nice. So I've been doing like a lot of pranayama stuff, like yoga breathing and Wim Hof, and a lot of like cold baths and saunas and stuff like that. I actually bought like this. I live in an apartment without a bathtub, and cold showers are pretty brutal. Like I'd rather like be in an ice bath than take a cold shower because it's like there's like violence. So I got this like plastic bathtub thing that I fill with ice and cold water, and I do the breathing. I did 20 minutes the other, like maybe a month ago. I did 20 minutes ice bath. That was the record. I usually do somewhere between 2 minutes and 10 minutes. Okay. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, super nice.
I live near like it's a library, but they also have a gym there, and they actually have like a really nice sauna. So I would go in the sauna there, and then we have what's called the Long Lake Provincial Park that's like quite nearby. It's not as close as obviously you want to go like one to the other right away. But I would go in there, and then I go to the lake, and it's nice. I was actually just visiting my parents 2 days ago. It was my mom's birthday. So they have the lake like right next to the house.
Nice.
So when I go here, it's a bit of a journey back. And there's been times where I was going for a run, and then I jump in some ice water. But then I have this bit of like, probably like a 8-minute run like back home. So there's been times it's been a little sketchy. But the water's like, it's cold right now, but it's not too bad. And I was swimming in the morning. I've got this whole lake to myself. And then I look
Yes.
over and I see this weird creature that I've never seen in the lake before. And I'm still not 100% sure, but I think I was swimming with a beaver. And he was like pretty close. Like he was just kind of swimming around in circles and like
Well, that's cool. Yeah.
great way to start the day.
Here sometimes when you're in the same situation, you can see like otters.
Otters.
Yeah. No, they're quite rare, but sometimes you can have that experience with an otter. You're like, what is that? Is that like a dog or it's an otter? Yeah.
That's cool. It's strange because I mean I grew up there. I've been in that lake so many times. I've never seen a beaver. I've never seen a muskrat. And then I just see this weird looking thing with this big tail, and I was like, a beaver?
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and is your plan to kind of always kind of like, do you picture yourself doing kind of like a retreat thing eventually, or is it going to take people to these spots and continue doing your kind of obstacle course, or?
Yeah, so like a few years ago, now it's like 5 years ago, I did a lot of workshops. I would go to places and like to gyms and like have a full day for like 40 people or 20 people. I want to get back to that sort of things, like have big groups and do these big workshops, full days. But yeah, like retreat would be really nice. I actually went to Bali a few years ago to be part of creating a retreat center. But like a few days before we were gonna like write on the papers to like get the land and everything, the Lombok earthquake happened.
Oh no.
And I was at the Gili Islands, which is like right next to Lombok. So like the entire place, just like the church or like the mosque, I guess, just like it was crazy. It was like the entire island was just wrecked.
Oh wow.
We were stuck there for a few days, and then as we went home, we just like. Yeah, maybe in the future we'll do it, but yeah, I'm glad to write the papers because
yeah,
I'm not sure how many tourists are there right now. yeah, but like having a retreat center like something like that would be the dream. Like that would be the perfect situation. Like having like the sauna, maybe a lake or at least something to like do cold plunges in. And like area to train, like that's it.
Yeah,
yes.
Super cool. Have you seen Wim Hof's center that he has?
I've seen like a few clips on YouTube. I'm not sure if it's the same place. I've seen like in the Vice documentary, like the cabin and stuff, and I've seen like the place he has in Holland, I guess, with like the sauna and like the pool and stuff.
Yeah. Pardon me?
Is it that big? Is it the center?
Yeah, I believe that's it. But just the setup that he has, like, I think it's like a brick place. Same thing as you. I've only just kind of seen videos and I've never been there. But just the idea of having all these little spots, like a pool for cold plunging, but then also he has these cold barrels for like individuals. And then the different saunas, like, and then a nice big glass yoga room, nice big gong in the middle. Like, to me, that's just like running a retreat, beautiful. But even just hanging out and just like waking up and starting your morning like that, it's just, I just love it.
Yeah, for sure. Like, when I went to China, I think I mentioned this. That was a dream living. Like I went to Shaolin and lived there, and the same thing. Like waking up and being at this place that is just perfect. Like everything's right there. Like all the training stuff, the training halls, there's mountains, like the air is so clean, and you're just right where you want to be. The training is here, the masters are here, and your day is just open for like training, philosophy, reading books, and more training and more training. And that perfect, like dream living, like that's like very like Spartan, very like simple. You have your bed and a desk, and you just fill up your days with just perfect like training and
and more training.
Like a full-time job, that's training. Yeah, running in the mountains and swimming in the lakes and just So having that sort of situation, but adding like cold water and the sauna and like shaping it according to your like philosophy, and like that's perfect.
I agree. Yeah. So I kind of forget, was that a meditation like retreat, or was that kung fu, or what was it again?
So actually, when I lived in Gothenburg in southern Sweden, I used to have like once a week. I would have this like perfect training day where I would like go out and run on the islands and do yoga and do all this stuff. And I remember like I watched a documentary when I was a kid about Shaolin, like Shaolin monks. And what they do is they do kung fu all day, and they do all this cool stuff, slapping water, like carrying water, doing all these crazy kung fu moves. So I did this for inspiration. I googled like Shaolin schedule, and I found it, and I looked at it, and then under it, it was like apply here. I was like, what? I can actually go there? That's cool. So I just applied and went there. And yeah, so the setup is basically Shaolin Kung Fu, traditional Shaolin Kung Fu. And within that is also like Qigong, Tai Chi, meditation, kickboxing, acrobatics, pretty much. Yeah.
And what would like a typical day be like? Like, what would the schedule be?
So each day was divided in 3 like main blocks, and then an extra block in the morning and in the evening. So 5 blocks total. 3 are training, and that's like after breakfast for 1.5 hours. Every day we did basics, which is like all the traditional Shaolin stuff. And then after that, we would have 1 hour block of different things. It would either be like kickboxing or forms, like forms. Like structured movements.
Okay.
And then in the afternoon, we would have 1.5 hour more of training. And that could be like running in the mountains. It could be like a hardcore workout. It could be conditioning, which was really fun, just punching each other and like making each other strong. And then every morning it was 1 hour of Tai Chi, meditation, and Qigong. And then in the evening, if you wanted, you could do like acupuncture, learning Mandarin, stuff like that. But the evening class was always optional.
Very nice.
So I usually didn't go. I usually like read books and like enjoyed just being there, because the days are so long. You just train and do all this stuff all day, and then when you have this like 1.5 hour in the evening, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna enjoy being here and rest.
Yeah, I imagine you needed it after all that.
Yeah, for sure. So I learned like 4 words in Mandarin.
Yeah, Tai Chi is. I've gone to like a couple classes here, but I just feel like it's probably something I should look more into. Just with illness and injuries and such, I think it's just the perfect thing for someone who's dealing with stuff like that, or perhaps elderly and doesn't want to be running mountains and jumping in cold water and doing backflips. But yeah, I found it all interesting. Favorite books? Got any new books you've been reading that are good?
I love books. I think I recommended like 10 books when we met last time.
They were good too. That's why I'm asking again.
uh, yeah, I mean, there's so like I'm always like giving out way too many book recommendations, but
All right.
like I'll buy books to people, like read these 5 books. But yeah, I mean, it depends what kind. Like if you're into like martial arts, the Book of Five Rings, really nice, written by a samurai in like the 1600s or something like that. Really nice book.
Wait, was that the guy that went around dueling everyone?
Yeah, like he killed everyone.
I forget how to pronounce his name, but
Musashi.
Musashi.
Musashi, yeah.
Yeah, I recently watched like a small documentary on him. Super interesting.
Yeah, the book is really nice. Really nice. Just like one of the things he says, for example, like when you're dueling, you're not like dueling. All you're gonna do is just strike the person down. So when you practice striking them down. Don't practice like dueling. And the same for martial arts. So like instead of practicing like a bunch of like how to box for 10 minutes in the ring, just practice to put it to sleep. Like do that.
Yeah.
Sort of. I'm butchering it, but it's like all these like gems in the book. It's just like, oh, that's a cool way to think about it. Like,
well, what an insane life that he lived that no one could relate to today.
Yeah.
This guy wandered around dueling people, risking his life on the like regular basis.
Yeah, for sure.
Who do we
know? And one of the cool things that he writes is actually like he writes about people like becoming soft. And it's wow, okay. If he said that about that time, if he like came here now, I mean, he was a samurai. He was like living a very hard life, and he said like, yeah, people are turning soft. People are like practicing, like even like the martial artists. So yeah, they're becoming soft. They're practicing nonsense, and it's like, oh.
I could see that from his perspective of. I remember he would be fighting people. They'd have swords. He would just have like a paddling board.
Yeah,
he'd just be destroying them with a paddle board. Like, what an animal.
Yeah. Otherwise, books like I read this. It's a few years ago. It's a really good book that I usually recommend. It's a Greek book called Sorba the Greek. Have you heard of it?
You know what? You might have told me this before, and I have not read that one yet. Sorba the Greek.
Yeah. It's this. I mean, it's a crazy book, but it's like beautifully written. It's like poetry. Like every page, I just have to like put the book down and like, wow, that's a really nice way of putting that. Very like poetic language. It took me like a year to read it because I would do that all the time. I would read one page and like, wow, I really have to think about this. That's so like perfect. And then I would read the next page, and it puts in some crazy stuff also, but humorous. So it's like it's a really nice book. That's one of the books I always recommend to people. Sorba the Greek. Yeah, you have to be in like the right place when you read it, like kind of open-hearted. But it's very nice book.
Those are the best ones when you can't get very far because it's making you think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I think it was you who recommended Iron John to me.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was a great one.
Nice. Yeah, it was a really good book. Like I read it like a couple of times. It's such an important book, I think, because Iron John, like basically about being a man. Like, what does it mean? What is it? Is it just being male, or is it something more? Is it something more, not just something like you should like have to be, but something like that you actually want to be? Like something, if something's missing, or something, if you have something you want to develop but can't really put your finger on what it is, it's a really good book to just like, oh yeah, that's why I feel that way, or like, oh yeah, that's what's trying to come to the surface and like manifest, basically. I think it's everyone or most people have these longings for like self-actualization, but we don't have many good maps. We have some really good maps and some really bad ones, and this is one at least that can like nudge you in the right direction and make you think about what direction you want to go to, basically.
Yeah. I was gonna say that I was obsessed with archetypes for a while, but I guess the truth is I still am. And I found that book, as well as The Hero with 1,000 Faces, King, Warrior, Magician, just like...
That's a good one. That's a really good one also.
Yeah, and a great place to start, I think, because it's not a long book, and it really explains exactly what you're saying, that just men today, I think, you know, we used to have these tribal ceremonies that we would go through to become a man, and that's something that we've unfortunately kind of lost, especially here in the West. And they talk a lot about moving from boy psychology to man psychology. And certainly if you wanted to point the finger at something that's maybe going wrong in the world, as we see all this kind of crazy things happening in the United States with Donald Trump being president and people attacking people and just kind of mindless violence. If there's anything that can maybe stop that or point people in another direction, it's somehow changing from that boy psychology to man psychology. And understanding the archetypes that we all kind of portray is one way of understanding, you know, what's kind of going on in your own psyche. And
when I were in China, I would write all this, like, I tried to like map my mind, basically. Like, I would notice that, like, so yin and yang is basically like outward and inward, and it's very different things. Like reading a book, you're taking stuff in. Giving a speech, you're giving stuff out. It's a very different thing, but yet very similar. And with King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, takes it another step. So it's like, okay, the magician, like knowledge, being in your head is very different from the warrior, like physical action. It's very different ways of being. Both are very natural. Both are very specific, but very different. And lover, like, being the lover when you read Sorba the Greek, like, that's the heart, the feeling, the enjoyment, the appreciation of life, like taking a step back and just enjoying. And the king keeps the kingdom where it should be, like direction. Really good book. Really good book.
Yeah, and that's probably another thing. I'm definitely going to read that book now, Sorba the Greek. That's the beautiful thing about having this podcast, is because before I'd be sitting there with my pen and paper writing all this down. Now I can just click back and go see what it is.
Yeah, nice.
Because there's probably like a lot of misdirected those things going on. Maybe people that are really good at being the king or really good at being the warrior. But if you don't have any piece of the puzzle, especially the lover, you might be using your power in an incorrect way.
Yeah.
Super important, and I think now more than ever, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. Like, if you don't have the lover, you're going to burn the kingdom down. If you don't have the warrior, someone else is going to burn the kingdom down. Probably. You stand your ground and like have the warrior, know when to put your foot down, but don't like walk around trying to like control people, try to like be the man, but have that, like have the ability to have the warrior, to like and the lover, have the ability to put them forth when needed. And in addition, like knowledge is so important. If you don't like nourish your knowledge, doesn't matter if you're like the perfect warrior, you're not going to go anywhere because you don't have the skills to read the map, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope, that's why I appreciate the work you're doing. I find a similar thing. That's the whole point, I think, of, you help people maybe with their warrior, maybe with that physical aspect. And I think I kind of lean more towards the magician. I love the whole trickster elements and just, just absorbing information. But it's all important.
Yeah. Have you read a good book lately?
Pardon me?
Have you read a good book lately?
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now. I'm reading Yuval Harari. I'm pretty much
What's it called?
Yuval Harari. So I'm reading his book called Sapiens.
Oh yeah, I heard about it, but I haven't read it.
It's very good.
Yeah, other people recommend it, so I'm gonna check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've actually read his Homo Deus before that, so that's like what's going to happen in the future. Sapiens is like the history of humans and mankind. And then he also has his newest one, which I can't remember the name of, but everything that guy writes and everything that I've heard him speak when he's online has been just really well thought out. Yeah, he's definitely a thinker, and really enjoyed it, and it kind of helps to understand. We're talking about the archetypes of like how you kind of why you are who you are, but also understanding just like humankind and like how we got here. It really paints the picture and just things I wouldn't have known and wouldn't have thought about ever. Like one thing that I'm probably going to botch, but he tries to explain how like pretty much everything in our reality, like companies like McDonald's, being the president, these are all just kind of concepts that we've created. So they're not like real tangible things. Like it's not like this table, it's not wood, like it's not a real thing that exists in the world. But we as humans kind of need to create these things in order to just navigate, because there's too many damn humans in the world. There's so many of us. And just understand that at any point in time, and it will happen because it's happened in the past, that we can change these myths and maybe create better systems that can serve us better instead of helping maybe the upper class and keeping the little guys down, or just all these crazy things that have happened throughout the world. I mean, another type of king, but that was the system that existed before, which was the rich and the poor and the peasants. And we obviously became conscious enough to realize that wasn't working, and we've built better systems, but maybe now time to build another one.
All right.
But definitely worth the read, 100%.
Nice.
Where can people, if they are listening to this, get in touch with you, or social medias, or I'm not sure, what are you doing these days?
Yeah, I mean, I have my blog. It's in Swedish, but it like Google Translate works fine on it. Like it translates pretty well, and that's dromkroppen.se. So yeah, I'll send you the. It's dromkroppen. It means dream body.
Okay, I always wonder what that meant.
Yeah, dream body. And so it's not like it sounds like it's about training, but it's a lot about mindset. It's a lot about like how to get over obstacles, basically. Because one of the interesting things when I created this website was a lot of backlash with the name. Everyone was like, "Oh, dream body, that's so shallow." I'm like, "Oh, is it? What's your definition of it?" And everyone has these really shallow definitions of what a dream body is. So a lot of it is just like, it's okay to like want a healthy, strong body. And there's a lot of, I think for some reason it's very common to think that to take care of your body is something shallow. But like your body is everything you have. Like your brain is your body. Like everything you have, everything you will ever actually have is your body. Everything you are is contained within this. So I'm not just talking like muscle or like cardio. It's like everything is within the body. And taking care of that and making a priority of actually taking care of your body is like the greatest thing you can do for self-improvement and being someone in the world who can actually help others. So that's like that's the website. And then you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram is Drömkroppen. I'll send you the link, and the Facebook Erik Bergström. Yeah.
Great. And that will all be in the description box down below if anyone's interested. And yeah, thanks for coming on. Appreciate the work you're doing, and I'm sure we'll do this another time.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
All right.
See you.
Later, man.